right. Welcome to CodePlay Culture Podcast. On today's episode, we're inspired by the world of Star Trek. We explore the moral, spiritual, and philosophical ideas in the Next Generation episode, Tapestry, which is Season 6, Episode 15. Along the way, we'll touch on some of the interesting storytelling and character elements of the episode. And likely, we'll geek out about Star Trek a bit. Welcome, Chris. Welcome, Logan.
What's going on?
Hello.
Not much. Same old, man. Beautiful Tuesday. It's going to be 15 degrees here. Weather's getting hot. Winter is hopefully finished.
Knock on wood.
Knock on wood.
According to Puxtony Phil, it was supposed to finish a while ago. So
is that right?
Yeah.
So he's on track.
Yeah.
We're talking about the gopher or the
yeah. Not seeing a shot or seeing a shot. I don't even know how it works.
Does anybody follow that guy still or that guy?
Oh, it's still in the news every year. It's
Groundhog.
They did it at my kid's school. She's like, "Oh, he didn't see a shadow." I'm like, "Okay."
Ever since Groundhog Day movie, right? It's been a little more famous. Great movie, by the way.
Yeah, it is a great movie. One of our great cultural exports, apparently. Second to Star Trek.
Yeah, exactly. Great segue.
Yeah, exactly. So for our top three today, I was going to say, why don't we each name our top three sci-fi series, movies, games, anything, the format doesn't really matter here, that influenced your moral code or philosophical frameworks, whether as a kid, adult, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So Rui, you want to start us off?
Yeah, for sure. I can kick it off. So my top three is Firefly. Yes. I don't know if you guys know Firefly, but it's lasted one season. It's basically a Western in outer space. Good show. But yeah, not enough episodes.
Well, then they had the movie where they basically got revenge on canceling the show.
Yeah, what was that? What was it called? Serenity. I was going to say Trinity. Yeah, so my second one is Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Yes.
For me, it's the better of all the Star Trek series, just because of its story arc. It lasted about 3 seasons. And my number one is Babylon 5. Best sci-fi show ever. Like, it's literally light years ahead of Star Trek. No pun intended on that.
Oh, that's funny. Couldn't get into that one, but
wow, man, you're missing out.
I was tapped out by Babylon 4.
Actually, that one give another shot as an adult. Babylon 5 is on my list as well. I mean, I missed it as a kid actually, and getting to see it as an adult and like just seeing it straight through. Just the character arcs, the complexity of the characters and the world building. I mean, yeah, it's in my mind one of the
tops,
best.
Man. Masterful storytelling.
I had Star Trek as well. I mean, for me, I grew up on the original series, Next Generation, Deep Space Nine. I mean, all the way through, even Voyager. I actually Strange New Worlds is kind of like the newer series is phenomenal. So yeah. I'm a hardcore Trekkie, so that's always been, I think, the top for me in terms of moral and philosophical underpinnings. Mm-hmm. And my sneaky third pick here is Sequest DSV. Mm-hmm. So that was a show from the mid-'90s that really was influential to me at a critical time. I think it was really written for teenagers, people that were fans of the Next Generation, just in a different environment. I mean, listen, I went into the field of ocean engineering because of that show. But for me, it was lessons in mentorship, leadership. Captain Bridger was somebody and it was fictional character, but I took a lot away from how he interacted with people on the show and how to be a good leader, how to deal with conflict and sacrifice and service. So there's lots of great moral underpinnings of that show. So that's why I added it to my list. But good crossover there, Rui. Logan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that like the original Sequest?
So there was 3 seasons. There was 2 of them where it was just Sequest DSV, and then they went Sequest 20. They did the jumping the shark time travel nonsense, and Sequest 2037. It was very much leaned heavily on the military side with Michael Ironside and stuff. It was actually still a pretty good show, and it's I think one of the rare instances where you get all of a sudden like a 10-year gap in the world building and like everything changed while they were gone. And that I've used that as fodder for a lot of my own like creative projects. That sort of world building, what they did in that show. So it still holds a special piece, but not quite the first 2 seasons.
Yeah, I like Sequest, the one you're talking about, the first 2. And yeah, I couldn't get into the 3rd season, which is like
it's got its merits though. I think having to react to a different leader, it's like there's some good lessons in there if you really give it a shot. But
top 1 for me for movie sci-fi, Matrix. That kind of like fueled my passion to like love sci-fi on this transformative meditative level where hey, let's rethink this world, Elon Musk style. Is it all a simulation? Like, if you're always playing the game, you never know that you're playing the game, kind of thing. Number two, it's like books or games. I would say sci-fi in general. I don't know, probably just some. It's really who did Dark Knight? What's the director's name?
Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, so I'll say that for the third. It's like so many Christopher Nolan movies go in my mind, but number two would be the Alien series. Mm-hmm. That was, unfortunately, I probably saw that a little too early so it like registered as PTSD level. Like I shouldn't have been shown that, but then I also loved like, okay, that's a little scary, but I want to see more of it. And then the last one, probably like, Interstellar or Inception, any Christopher Nolan movies that are these sci-fi, like Inception is crazy. Like the dream levels where time moves slower. Oh man, I didn't even mention like Rick and Morty and stuff like that. I would say that like that was just I'm going to boot Guy out of the third, and I'm going to put Rick and Morty right in the third spot.
Nice.
Yeah, and it sounds like all those are kind of multi-layered, and just to to bring it back, bring it sort of to the main topic. I mean, so is Captain Picard, right? It's a very multi-layered character, and this really explores not just his backstory, but those philosophical questions of what if you could undo a decision in your past, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, I mean, every moment, like watching this episode was pretty cool. I mean, every moment of his life he questioned. It seemed like he regretted every moment up until the time where he died, right? And I wonder if it's like that for each and every one of us, right? Like, do we just accumulate guilt over the years and want to go back and wash it all away?
And that was kind of the magic of the episode, saying like, this, you're on the table now because you have an artificial heart. And I know we're
right.
We don't have to worry about spoilers for a show that came out in the 90s.
Yeah, exactly.
But using that premise of like, it's tied to a very specific event, informative event in his life. Yeah. You only get that particular choice.
Although it was tied to that one event, he began to want to change everything. He approached everything with, I'm going to be a different person. I think that was one of his quotes. I mean, from now on, I'm going to be a different person, something to that effect. But he was beginning to not just avoid the fight that broke his heart, but he began to change everything and undo the past, right?
We also had the benefit of 20, 30, well, I don't even know if they gave a number, but 20 plus years of experience that he's bringing into that moment also.
Right.
Well, if you're time traveling, but I think even when you're time traveling to your own memory, right? Yeah. You're bringing all, the knowledge of what happened after, everything you've learned since that incident to your thoughts, like, I wish I could have. Well, yeah, in hindsight, it's 2020, right? Sure.
Right.
I think that's the danger of even thinking that way.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just seeing, all right, the value of what you gained through the experience, which is ultimately where he ends up, right?
Are we the same person we were 5 minutes ago? We're a different person altogether, right?
Yeah, we're always like evolving, and I think it's really like a fourth dimension problem. Like, where the two-dimensional creature doesn't know about the dimensions higher than them. Like if the fourth dimension is time, right? This is really like a fourth dimensional issue, right? Like if time wasn't a thing, you just like zip back and forth between baby you and, grandpa you, or any permutations, you probably wouldn't regret. Well, there's a whole component of regret and self-love.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, I've like worked very hard over the years of saying to myself, no, I will be confidently able to get on a soapbox right now and scream out what I did with confidence. And I stand behind that act wholeheartedly. And then putting myself in that metaphorical hypothetical, I'm able to confidently minimize or lower the regret.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's funny.
If you have kids, regret could be high too, right? If you have kids, fuck.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, I could spend more time with them. Oh, should have. Like, it's just regret is like, find like, even if like we're all great dads, we're all married to great, women that are, great moms, but great parents have arguably more regret than not so great parents, because maybe their not so great parents might have ignorance, but their regret, man, of like, oh, I could have spent more time, or I could have said that nicer, or I could have, thought about this different, all things considered, like the grass is not always greener, like compared to someone else. Like you don't know the house next to you, the relationship, and then you go and you're like, oh wow, this is way worse, like.
But yeah, it's interesting you say it that way too, because it could just be a poignant moment like that makes you realize that, well, why am I doing things a certain way? Why am I making those choices on a daily basis, right? Is there something that happened in my past that makes me, maybe it was something formative in our youth, or it was just something that happened to us on a physical or emotional level that makes us maybe unable to make that choice the right way? Or, what if that thing didn't happen? Would I be more available for my kids? Or, there's a danger in that too, though.
There is a danger in that. There's absolutely
a rabbit hole.
Yeah. I mean, you'd be a different person sitting here right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that was the cool trick of the episode too, is it shows you the life after, it's very much like a Christmas Carol, right? That's kind of the old classic example of this type of storytelling, where it's like, well, look what happens if you make that choice. You're now a junior science officer that's not assertive and like, all right, it's nice to have you around, but you're expendable, right?
Yeah. What he said to Q, where he'd rather be dead as the man he was than alive as the man he is.
Yeah, you had to like go through that experience to realize that, though, which was, I think, the part that I'm trying to avoid personally, is not have to like be shown that I shouldn't regret things. I should, within reason, go through that same experience and be like, yep, you know what? I tried my 100% best. I am a good dad. I am a good friend. I am a good spouse. I am a good employee. I am a good, you know what I mean? But it's tough.
Yeah. But what's really interesting about this episode? I'm just kind of, looking back on it now as an adult that's been through therapy and things like that, right? Is that Q acts as a therapist in this. It's almost like he's got his powers and everything else, but like he kind of walks him through this whole experience like a therapist would, saying like, like letting him make his choice, but then like making him reevaluate. And he does it through humor and things like that. And so it's probably Q's funniest episode, I think, just in terms of the one-liners. Like, that really gets you right here. Like, that's a really awesome stuff
in the background, like.
But he's making these appearances through the recollection, saying, asking kind of questions and prodding and poking, but letting him come to the realizations.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of therapeutic concepts to it, and they're not trying to do that, I don't think, with the writing. I don't think Ronald Moore, the main writer on this, that was his main intent. But that's something I just kind of took away as like, it's interesting how they walked him through it.
Yeah. We don't even know if that was really Q or that was Picard's subconscious, right? That's the mystery.
They always do a little kind of with Q, the hand wavy stuff with Q, right?
Exactly. During the episode, Picard asks him, if I avoid the fight, what's going to happen? And he said that you're going to have your actual heart. So Picard says, so I won't die? And Q responds with, you'll die just at a later time. And Picard's face is just like smart ass.
Oh yeah. I like the part when he woke up, like you know what? I'm going to go back and change everything. So I'm going to sleep with that girl that I never got to sleep with. So he wakes up and like, he's got his armies on the side. I was like, holy crap. Like Al Picard's a beefcake. Like he's like a buff baby. He's like got huge biceps. I was like, what the hell? And he's got this hairy, like, chest, like caveman style. And then as soon as he sees that Q's like in the bed next to him, he pulls up the bed like a little girl, like he's covering like obviously Q, like this is not like your Q, you know what I mean? I'm like, and then after they talk a bit, you see he lets his guard down and then he just pulls the blanket down so he exposes his hairy chest again. And he's like, wait a minute, are you good with Q being in bed now? Like it's weird. That part I'm like, that was a weird scene, where mine works. I'm like, I never knew you such like he had like a pretty good physique.
He does. Yeah. Man's in good shape. He's just bald. Yeah. Which makes him look, just slightly older.
Yeah. I mean, not that anything's wrong.
The white hair didn't hurt. But.
And the white hair.
They say that like if you have, a lot of face hair and like not a lot of head hair, your testosterone levels are generally so high that you lose your hair because of the DHT conversion through the scalp and miniaturization of the follicles due to that. But I'll just say that maybe Picard's like got high T levels.
Well, so your follicles get smaller, so things get miniaturized as you work out. Is it just specific to your follicles? Are there any other?
I don't know the
parts?
exact like mechanism of like action, how it like happens, but generally, if you have so much DHT in your body, which is like what there's like downstream conversions of testosterone, right? But yeah, if you think about it, when you're working out and lifting heavy, as cortisol increases, that will also pop out hairs because you can't vasodilate when you're stressed. You vasoconstrict when you're stressed. So if you get less blood flow to that area and it's just stress, you'll lose your hair because of stress and DHT and genetic predispositions and more. But that's why you see a lot of these bodybuilders where like they're bald, right? It's maybe they weren't
Schwarzenegger bald. Lou Ferrigno? I mean, I'm pretty sure they have a full head of hair.
Yeah, exactly. But there is some, like, you notice that, like, you'll see it, just like big beard and bald. Like some of that is like because of the steroids and stuff that they're taking to have that kind of physique, which ultimately leads to more androgenic and DHT like kind of effects. But some people were like going that way anyways, and then because they started working on it, like it's all like, but it's like in society it looks like not such a attractive quality, and most men don't want to have that. But if you look at like it chemically or hormone levels wise, it's much more optimal. So, if you think about it, it's better.
Yeah, so that's what happened to Picard, I guess.
That's Picard.
Yeah.
He's got more hair in his chest than he does in his nostrils.
Well, because he was fighting Narsicans.
Yeah, that's Studio
Narcissus or whatever the hell.
Yeah. It sounds like
Nausicans. Nausicans, thank you.
Nausicaa from Studio Ghibli. Narcissists. Who's fighting like predators, right? Like they look like they have the predator like
the predator mouth.
Yeah, what do you call it? It's like
they're punching women in that episode. I know they're aliens, so that doesn't mean they get a pass.
Who's the woman? The Nausicans are not women.
No,
well, how do you know?
Woman, the woman that's hanging out with the two guys, right? Oh yeah, they could be all. Yeah, they could be all women.
Androgynous.
Yeah, what was the name of the
Binars
game that they were playing that was like a ripoff from like billiards?
Oh yeah, Domjot, yeah.
Human Domjot.
I love how easy it is to mess
with. Stinks, buddy.
I like the whole game can be undone by like a tiny, a couple little screwdrivers.
I know, right?
Yeah, like what? And then when they're underneath the table, like having their little private session, and he's like,
all the lights are on, everything's going on in the pack.
I'm like, oh yeah, you're rigging the table because you got a screwdriver in there, right?
Yeah,
whatever. Show me what you actually did, like engineering wise.
Props. 24th century, they still can't protect their games from getting hacked.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they can't foible a screwdriver. Oh, damn it. We just patched that server, but the guy had a hammer.
Something in his belt.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's just a plot device, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Move the plot along.
Everyone on this podcast, I'm sure we've all made mistakes, right? And it's like, how do you take a lesson or change your life or behaviors or who you surround yourself with based on mistakes you've made in your past, right? I know I'm no stranger to it. And that's really what it's trying to teach.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, can you imagine going back, like the fear of being here and not having the same people around you, having like no kids or no wife or two wives or whatever the case. But
this week on polygamy.
This week on polygamy, we have Logan introducing
the truth seeker. The anti-Illuminatiist.
I would honestly, would any of you guys go back and make minor changes?
No. They made me who I am now.
You're one of the few that
if
that
there's
wouldn't.
a chance that I won't get to meet my kids, I'm not going to sit on no lizard, like Homer did.
I wouldn't change any one thing of the past. I would just write it out, man. Same way I possibly would obviously go back and invest, but you know how that works, right?
Yeah, listen, if I can go back to young me and smack him upside the head a little bit, yeah, sure, I'd take a whack, but
But that would change things.
not
Theoretically,
if
you'd be a whole different person. Had you been like go back and invest, you'd be rich today. You'd be a different person for sure. You wouldn't be sitting here on this podcast. I'll tell you right now.
That's true. I don't own this.
I guess we're like assuming that if you go back and change that timeline, that's the same timeline you're on.
You think they're all different threads?
Yeah, it's a different thread of the same friggin' whatever universe thing, wherever this is contained.
It's a multi-thread program.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Q took some of the teeth out of it too, saying, "I guarantee nothing else will change, only you." It's kind of like, oh, really?
Yeah,
I know, right?
Well, no, because listen, there's they don't get specific about it, but clearly the lives of everyone else that he's influenced would be different, and that's where maybe the episode falls down a little bit, whereas it doesn't really explore the ramifications that your decisions have on other people in their lives.
Yeah,
Riker and Troy, the same Riker and Troy when they have the little scene at 10 forward, but
I
again,
mean,
there's only so much you can fit into a 30-minute episode.
Of course.
But
what you say that again? What did you say?
Well, no, he just right at the start. He's just like, "Hey, listen, I guarantee, I fine. If this is what does it for you, I promise you, I won't.
Yeah,
nothing else will change." I'm like, "Well, really?"
Yeah, that's like pretty deep. Like maybe nothing else does change. Like,
well, we wouldn't have Picard show.
Yeah, it would be the Riker show.
Oh, actually, you know what? That would be way better.
He's got a cool name.
He's got a cool name. It's
like Stryker from Mortal Kombat 3. It's like a cop that throws bombs.
Oh yeah, I remember Stryker.
Yeah. Oh. I love that. I love like that, like whole freaking. But I mean, like, would I give it to my kids? Hell no. Like, I can't believe that I guess growing up,
our parents had no idea, right? I'm like playing Duke Nukem, like no idea.
Yeah. Time to kick ass and chew bubble gum and a load of gum. I had to install that from like 8 floppies, and my son's like, "What are floppies?" And then I'm like, "It's like these." I have one on my wall, but it's a massive one from 1984. I was like, "It's like this," and then you got to put in a bunch, and then
you got a 5 1/4 up there.
Yeah. It's like I would take it down actually, but my dad got it from.
Yeah, show us your floppy, Logan.
Yeah, this is like stuff from 1984. Oh, geez.
Nice.
Okay, so that's like huge. Like this thing's huge.
Yep.
But that's not even a B drive. Like floppy B.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's way bigger than floppy B.
Oh yeah, that's
this is like floppy double B.
Yeah, if it's like 60 KB.
So yeah, my dad was like, because he worked at CTV and he's clearing out some old media, and it said 1984 on the storage media. So he went to Michael's, and he always like led with his heart, not his wallet. So he's probably ended up spending $600 on the custom framing, right? And then yeah, exactly. It's nothing to him. It was like a special gesture, right? And then
was this like 1984, like the story?
Yeah, like what you would use. Yeah.
Oh, from the year 1984.
Yes.
What's on it though?
It's not George Orwell.
Okay, yeah. The one thing it says on it is this software contains trade secrets owned by CMX, including the scenes, software routines, and logic sequencing that is made available only under the terms of a license agreement. The trade secrets may not be disclosed to anyone except in accordance with the license agreement. I have no idea.
We're going to enjoy that emails come.
It's like source code from like all of the servers from like Bell Media, and like one exec IT guy hears this podcast. They're like, "Let's get them, boys!" But they're like kind of slow because they're Bell Media.
What's the over/under on how many weeks after we post this episode we get a cease and desist order? Someone raids your house. So there's a SWAT team that comes in. It's like government secrets.
Yeah,
what happened to Logan?
Yeah, I should like probably Google that, but yeah, no, I don't have anything to play it, but I don't think that's going to protect me from the
SWAT team, no.
Goons. Yeah,
or whatever your equivalent is in Canada.
Yeah, release the hounds.
We don't have SWAT.
No, but those There's like fun little hooks like that where you just make a story out of it, right? Like your dad like put it, like, why would he frame a random disc in a frame and really he's part of some like crazy underground thing? We got to protect this secret for as long as possible. Well, framing it and put it in my kid's room who has no idea what this thing even does or has any machine to play it, that'll keep it safe until he reveals it on a podcast out of that.
Yeah. It's like, that's just the author in you, Chris, like the storyteller in you is like, that's how it all started. And the last time we saw him was 3 weeks after that show. Gone missing. We found bits and pieces of him washed up on the shores. Calling, of, like,
what did he do?
Yeah. It's like, damn floppies every time. I blame floppies. Just the word floppy is just so rubbery. It's like, it's got low physics. You guys remember when the graphics cards were like getting popular and then they came out with a PhysX card? You had to have like a special card in your computer for physics for like floppy, like to make things floppy. I remember this guy, I worked at Blockbuster and there was this guy that came in. He's this cool kid. He always asks about games. He's like, when's this game coming out? And it was like probably around then. He's like, does it have ragdoll? I'm like, why do you want all the games to have ragdoll? It's like, that was like a selling feature of like, it's like, okay, well, it's like chess. Do you want like ragdoll in chess? You know, like digital chess? Like, what are the pieces just going to like, what are they, jello shots? Like, anyways.
Was a gimmick,
rabbit hole tangent, man. But yeah, but the one thing about the Al Picard episode, I guess they're all Al Picard episodes, Next Generation. But so
Al Picard is this like you're accusing Al Pacino?
Al Picard
is Al Cappuccino or Al Cappuccino is
El Capitan.
The threads and the tapestry, right? I thought about like in secular Buddhism, like secular meaning non-deity, right? Just practicing meditation. There was like one thing that someone said where if your like life is crystal clear water and you've done something bad, like so the water is synonymous to the to the tapestry, and the throwing in a big clump of mud and making the water a little ripply and a little dirty for a bit will eventually diffuse, and the dirt is like synonymous for a thread. But as that thread gets woven into a tapestry of whatever, it just still goes back to pristine clear, right? You have to literally be dumping tons of toxic ooze every day, like mobster, like, you know, get rid of the bodies every day in order to muddy your pristine clear tapestry. But I love that idea that the thing was even called tapestry.
Yeah.
All those threads added up. Like, what threads are we weaving today in our tapestries that will pave the way for no regrets when we're older, you know?
Yeah.
Or regrets. I mean, it's, you know, water's going to find its level, right? Even in the mud example, right? The mud is now in a different place. The water's technically does change, but it will find its level, right? Yeah. For me, it always comes down to that principle, just making this self your best self, and just, you know, seeing the wisdom and the lessons from your past, and either not creating, you know, not recreating them, or reinforcing that. Yeah, when I do that, that thing happens, and it's made me a better person. So I should either double down on that or use that and combine it with something else that happened into taking steps forward to wherever I want to be in that moment.
Yeah.
You know, just as he couldn't foresee, you know, the impact of his decisions when he was an impetuous 20-year-old or 21, whatever they're old, and got out of the academy. But Trekkie should know that, I guess. But from a screenwriter perspective, definitely, I think, upped things a notch with he went on to become one of the leads in Battlestar Galactica. And I think, you know, these sort of questions, and the moral questions, sure, but I think these, you know, one incident can just change someone's path, right? I mean, that was the core thread through the show. I mean, it is in a lot of shows, cause and effect, but I think in terms of like understanding characters' backstory through key events was a big tenet through that show. Yeah,
no, it was definitely a good episode. I mean, there were a couple of interesting episodes that were closely related, and one of them was where they put like 20 years of memory into his brain over a span of like, you know, 20 minutes. However, some alien technology did that, right? So
we lived the whole lifetime.
Little right. We had that really cool hair, which is like came up to here. It was like all, you know,
I'm just putting in these notes here to hopefully those translate when I'm editing.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
there are a lot of that's the one thing with story arc shows. You may not get these different ideas, different episodes, right? The story arc is basically, obviously one continuous story, but all these little like random episodes are, I know what you'd call them, anthologies. No, because anthology would mean that they're all separate stories altogether, right?
Right.
Yeah, Chris, right?
So, sorry, say that again?
Yeah, that was pretty deep. And I think Chris was like at 50% capacity and he said something transformative. And then like Chris is like, wait a minute. Hold on.
When you have a show that has episodes, it's an episodic show and every episode's different. It's not an anthology, right? An anthology would be a different story with different characters per episode. Kind of like Black Mirror. That's an anthology.
Yeah, usually it's a collection of stories based on a specific theme or, bound in the same volume of some kind.
Right, but they're not related to each other in any way. Well,
or it could be same author or
maybe.
Same thematic. Yeah,
right.
Stories about floods and things like that. But
right,
you see a lot in science fiction anthologies. But
yeah, I mean they're good. I mean, Matrix had an anthology, right? The Matrix animation.
Yep.
Yes, I love those.
Animatrix, right? That's right. Yeah,
Animatrix. That's exactly it. Yeah,
Animatrix. Yeah,
it was pretty good, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean there's a term for episodic, especially in television, where the things
I'm trying to figure out what
related,
that term is, but can't think of it off the top of my head.
Yeah,
maybe
they're standalone episodes, but
yeah. So, guys, you got to take one captain with you on a journey through space. One of these Star Trek captains.
Oh, sorry. Fuck him up. What is that? We're now at a different level. 37. I was going to say Captain Crunch, and you're like Star Trek Crunch, man. I was like, listen, if you're on a desert island, there's no...
if you want to take Captain Crunch, man, be my guest. You could take whoever you like. But
we'll give him a hard rap.
Yeah, real quick, that episode you were talking about, Rui, was I had to look at the title, "The Inner Light" from season 5.
Okay, good episode, man. Good episode.
Yeah, great one. Sorry,
one of the classics. Yeah, it was gnawing at you.
It's gnawing at me.
So you have to take one captain. Logan, you're with Crunch. Crunch, is that your final take, or you want to take one of the Star Trek captains? It
has to be Star Trek. Maybe the girl from Voyager.
The
Captain
girl?
Janeway.
The lady.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going with a dude. Like, it's a desert island. We're talking about tanning and coconuts and just sunburns.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not bringing bald, hairy chest man, even though his physique is desirable in my eyes. And I wouldn't take, I don't know, anyone else from Next Generation or from Deep Space Nine. I mean, I don't know. Maybe
Cisco ain't bad though.
Yeah,
that's a tough question.
Thinking about the desert island, man.
You know what? I'm gonna have to go with Logan, man. I'm gonna take Janeway. I'm taking Janeway, man. You're right. You're like,
I called dibs first. You can have the lower half. I'm sorry.
39 minutes, 15 seconds.
That's a fine to keep it. It's like we got a splitter. Like,
unless we got to do it
3 ways.
I'm not splitting Janeway, man. You know what? You can have her.
The ship. I know it.
Yeah, or we'll give you like Worf, like when Worf dressed up as a girl. Like, yeah, it's fine.
I don't know. Like the Captain Pike from Strange New Worlds is a frontrunner now.
Mm-hmm.
It's only 2 seasons in, so there's still a little bit time for that one. I'm a huge fan of Anson Mount, the actor, generally, from his Hell on Wheels show, like way back in the day. But just great acting, but also just in terms of how the character is written. And listen, it benefits from 20, 30 years now, this modern episodic television where there's threads that weave through seasons.
Right.
So, he's the beneficiary of the road that Picard and Janeway and all the other Cisco all forged for him.
Mm-hmm.
He pays homage to it tonight. So I think it's kind of like the epitome of what it means to be a captain. So that's why I picked that one. But
nice.
With deference to the classics in the past. But
yeah. All right, so you got Pike on board, and Logan and I are sharing Janeway.
Yeah.
So we're I see where this is headed.
You can have her.
So
I would rather she be feature complete.
So why don't we move on to the on our shelves section, because this is getting weird.
So on our shelves is the lower half of the captain from Voyager.
Yeah.
It's like
we all know what Logan is coding right now.
The lower half,
the lower decks,
which is great. Actually, if you like Rick and Morty, the Lower Deck show is Star Trek is really good.
Scotty,
it's legit worth watching.
It's like the IT crowd, but like Star Trekkie.
Yeah, no, it's of that ilk. It's Rick and Morty meets Star Trek.
Yeah, what are you coding? You were learning about C# and stuff, Chris. But like, what are you?
Right now we've got a couple upcoming trade shows. So we'd have created a touchscreen setup using HTML and a portable laptop.
Mm-hmm.
With some help, obviously. But now I got to basically take that from a joint project and just make it for my company for an upcoming show. So just light HTML coding while I'm on a plane. Cool. But
yeah, and
how about you,
Rui?
Me, I'm right now I'm actually learning about SEO. So I'm trying to learn some SEO tactics to weave into my code and my projects to kind of get up there on the Google ranking list in the search engines. It's been pretty interesting and it's working out pretty good, I have to say. Yeah, it's quite the challenge, but it's nice to see your projects kind of ranking up and going up that ladder for sure. So that's what I've been up to, man. Yeah.
It's good to have like a programmer's mind on that, because I believe historically SEO is predominantly dominated by marketing people, right? So having like I'm going to program SEO, like, it'd be interesting to see what you did. Like, I know some of what you did, and I'm pretty in tune with this stuff. I had no idea how much you could boost, like, just by doing some stuff I never heard of. Right.
Yeah.
But, and it's a YouTube video loop, like, rabbit hole. If you type in SEO, it's typing in best, like, moisturizer for your face on YouTube. It's like, forget about it. Everyone's an expert. You're done.
Yeah. And there's so many misconceptions, right? Like, with the analytics and the search console, like, none of that really matters, right? It's just...
Well, most of them don't know how to program properly.
Yeah.
Yep.
They just want YouTube links. Top 5 ways to boost your SEO
exactly.
rankings.
Yeah. Yeah. 1, put down this video and just run outside and tell people about your product. Number 2, and the video turns off.
Pose in front of a Ferrari.
Yeah. Start a fake argument with the person in public. Yeah. And the camera like zooms in on the guy going, yeah. I am... what am I coding? Coding the world's first 100% free serverless Azure website in Blazor. So there's no cost, end to end. And it's all free, like, for life. It's a nice little loophole that, if properly advertised, will be swiftly plugged by Mr. Gates and team. But pretty awesome. Yeah.
That's good.
Cool. So what are we all playing these days? Why don't you, Logan, we'll bring it back in reverse.
Yeah. I'm trying to get Final Fantasy Rebirth, like Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth and Snake Eater Remastered. I forget what it's called, but...
Wait, did you get Rebirth?
No. Like, I'm going to go and get it, but I'm, like, waiting to, like, hey, Rui, you want to go and we'll pick one up from that game store that's near Waterdown? But I just want to get the Snake Eater Remaster too, because the kids don't really have a depth of, like, they've seen Death Stranding, how crazy that is with Hideo Kojima, but they haven't seen, like, a really good Metal Gear, right? So really excited about that one. So,
well, listen, if you're going to go to that place, let me know. If you want to grab lunch, we can stop at that game place.
Yeah, I'm a free ad.
Hey,
yeah. Oh yeah,
I'm totally fine with unpaid ads, man. plug
Yeah,
'em.
for sure. Like, what's the name of that place again? Game Haven.
Yes, Game Haven
on Brant Street in Burlington, Ontario.
Yes.
Super helpful, enthusiastic owner, employees. Every time I go in there, I feel like, imagine the first time you go into like an EB Games or GameStop or Microplay without the fear of being sold a membership when you're checking out. It's that true, like, oh my God, I'm at home. I can finally talk to someone about everything. It's like having a best friend as a store owner that you just, and then you leave and you're like, oh, I want to spend more time there. That's Game Haven. It's like, I hope that place never goes the way of Microplay and all this, like, they're strong in, like, it's a halfway point for Rui and I to meet, so it's like between Milton and Waterdown, it's Burlington.
Just bring cash, because they do not take credit card or debit, which is unfortunate.
Yeah,
but at the same time, it's good.
I remember we were in the parking lot, and then I was like holding the door for someone, or I was saying hi to someone, and Rui is like a good friend. It's like, Logan, just come with me. Like, he's like holding my hands, like, because it's like a weird little neighborhood. It's like, he's protecting me. He's like, Logan, don't talk to that.
Just put your head down and walk in the door.
It's like, like that like guys like, oh, I want to speak to I'm not sure if you guys seen Smiling Friends. It's like a cartoon like Rick and Morty, but like the whole world is like bleak, and it's like a horror funny cartoon where there's this one guy that's just like, oh, hello everybody, I love you so much, and then basically his friends are like, get away from him, they're like murderers and serial killers. But I'm not saying that those people were, it was just like they were pretty shifty, and I didn't realize it until Rui like pulled me away. It's like, that's what friends are for. Keep my keys when I'm sober. But the game store is definitely worth it, right next to the pizza, potentially arsenic or arsenic, the arson that happened to the Tim Hortons right beside there. Or
right.
Whatever.
Fun times in Burlington. How about you? How about you, Rui? What are you playing?
What am I playing right now? What game did I play recently on my PS5? I cannot think of it. Oh, it's called Chicken Horse. Chicken Horse.
Unexpected?
Yeah.
You're just making stuff up? Or?
No, man, it's called Chicken Horse, I swear.
Oh, no, it's Meatball Turtle.
It's like it's bald or gate.
Goodness. No, it's definitely Chicken Horse, man. Now I got to look it up, because now
I want to play Meatball Turtle.
Oh, it's called Ultimate Chicken Horse. Yes, it's on PlayStation. We're going to play it next time.
Yeah.
Ultimate Chicken Horse.
Kids were asking about when you're going to come over, Rui, because they have some Skylanders for your kiddo, and they wanted to play more 4-player, like PS5, PS4 games.
Oh, I have tons of those games, man.
They were like, why does Rui always have like the multiplayer cool games, but Dad, you just have like Dark Souls? I'm like, because I'm sad. Close the door, Mom. like, I don't know. Like,
my favorite was always Towerfall Ascension for stuff.
Oh, like Towerfall, man. Love that, dude. Such a good game. Is it like online?
Like,
can you play online? I'll play you, man.
Yeah, you get it on Steam. On Steam, I know that.
Have it on PS4. But you can play it on PS5 if you have one.
No, I don't. I'm only.
You don't have console.
Okay. Well, no, I have Switch.
Oh, okay.
Which, speaking of which, I finally beat Tears of the Kingdom over the weekend.
Oh, nice.
I finally decided I've had enough. I will finish the game.
Nice.
And it was so disappointing.
Oh no!
From the story perspective, it was like you kind of knew how the story was going to end, but like I love the game. Don't get me wrong, but like I just blew right through it. Like I did. I brought the whole gang. I brought everything. Got everything ready to go. I needed like half of it. Yeah. It was just like literally took me minutes. I was like, that is kind of a shame. It was not an epic final battle.
Sequelitis issue.
No. It was a phenomenal sequel. Like the story was beautiful. Like it was. I mean, 180, probably over 200 hours of gameplay. It was definitely value. It was just the ending boss. Like Ganondorf just sucked. It's just totally under like.
Yep.
The lead up to him was better than like fighting him like this is lame and I don't know.
Yeah. So would you play it again?
Well, I mean, it's you play through the whole thing. It's the open world. If they made a third game in the world, I would totally dive right back in.
That'd be a different engine, though.
Well, it'll probably be on the Switch 2 or something, right? Like, whatever that.
Which apparently is like coming. Like I know it's like they're always speculative. Like there's whole people make channels on speculation of the Switch 2, but it's like I think it's coming like this Christmas. It's just going to be, I don't know, better.
Listen, for a couple hours a week, bedtime, something like that. I'm just trying to, I wasn't investing heavily into it, and just took a long time. But it was fun and rewarding. But kind of happy I can move on to something else.
Hmm. Have you guys ever seen DAX? DAX, Samsung DAX?
It's like a desktop environment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you used it?
I tried to use it. It was slow, but I'm not sure what it's like now.
There's a new Steam console too, right? Like a handheld Steam PC
the Steam
that's
Deck.
Linux or something.
Yeah. Honestly, like I like the idea of like you have a phone, you dock it, and boom, you're on a computer. You bring it with you. Like the device, like fruit salad, like of the world. You got your iPad, you got your laptop, you got your blah, blah, blah. Like I know people want to separate work from personal sometimes, but like, yeah, I think the Switch, like, it would be cool if you could dock it and be on PC. The whole docking thing is like super cool, like dock, you know, like. Yeah. So what I'm culturing lately, just to close out the top.
Nice segue there.
Is fell off the map a little bit for mindfulness meditation over the past like 5 years, and past couple nights I've been very diligent about going down to the basement, having no screens, just listening to the sounds. Like when a thought arises, just give it the space, but don't engage with it, and letting it fade away. It is incredibly hard. It's like trying to do bicep curls with like, I don't know, a feeble, old, dilapidated body, right? Your mind can't do that.
Body.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's frustrating. It's like, when you're tired from your muscles lifting, it's like the feeling of frustration, but you can't try. So imagine like trying to do something and trying to do nothing at the same time. It's like a tree falling in the woods, like Zen koan.
That's where for me the morning tends to be easier because you can kind of work that muscle before it gets overworked during the day, and then
yes, exactly.
I always fall at the night where like you're trying to bring it back, right?
Yeah. What about you, Chris?
So I'm very excited because Cal Newport's new book, Slow Productivity, came out.
Yes.
Lots of people have heard about this. Came in the mail this week, so it is coming with me on my business trip. I'll probably finish it on that trip, but I'm very much looking forward to it. I mean, I'm a huge fan of his podcast, Deep Work, all of his previous books. So pumped for this one because it kind of resonates where I am right now. So it's getting all sorts of good press.
I'm going to get that right now because I have a credit on Audible. I skateboard, I listen to ebooks and go for walks and stuff,
all right, guys. Well, it's time to wrap up this episode. I want to thank everybody for being here. Thank you for taking a journey with us through this thread of time. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Logan, for joining me as you do every week. And in the words of Captain Picard, it's possible to commit no mistakes and still lose. That is not a weakness. That is life. See you, everybody.
See ya.
See ya.